Hello, welcome to the Inside the Birds post-game show. Geoff Mosher and Adam Caplan. And oh my God, how did that just happen? Did that actually, truly just happen? Adam, the Eagles were on their way to what I was thinking would be the worst loss of the Nick Sirianni era because there are not a lot of them, and some of them are close. And it turned into maybe the most, non-Super Bowl craziest win of the Nick Sirianni era. Obviously, the Eagles prevail 33-26 at home. They do so by scoring 20 unanswered points to come back from being down, way down 26-7. And then that wasn't enough because the Rams were about to line up and kick a field goal to sink them. And Jordan Davis, who had already helped block one field goal, storms through at him, blocks the second field, scoops it, and runs it back for a touchdown. And everybody, all the bettors who took the Eagles won. Unbelievable, Adam. How do you describe it?
No, you got most of it. I mean, think about it. The Rams had 6 straight scores, 2 touchdowns, 4 field goals. The Eagles were dead in the water. They're down 26-7. They were terrible. Second quarter was horrendous. You certainly can't say the team quit, but they seemed mentally defeated. They had a ton of MEs, which are mental errors, a ton of them. Mm-hmm. Lane Johnson got hurt. That clearly was a factor, right tackle. Okay, that's why Matt Pryor was pulled. They put Fred Johnson in there, which turned out to be something that really helped them come back. But they had a heart of a champion. A heart of a champion is able to come back. If you're a team, and we know how young they are, the youngest defense in football. But they also won the Super Bowl last year. Something in them, they chipped away. The defense, which couldn't stop the run at all, okay, they were terrible against the run. Yes, and they were actually on the last drive of the Rams, but they had the blocked field goal. But Jacorian Bennett makes some plays, okay? They made some plays on defense when they absolutely had to against the pass. Mm-hmm. So they did some really good things in the second half, obviously, to come back. And the big thing is they said, you know what? And this is what I said on Patreon, on our Discord. I said, guys, why don't they just throw the football? Why are they so scared to throw the football? It's not working for 3 games. It's not Barkley's fault. They can't block for the run. You have 2 options. Either you run it or pass it. When the run doesn't work, throw the damn football. Mm-hmm. And then the offense took off. And it's funny, my prediction in the pregame was 2 touchdowns, 225, and I looked like a total chump at halftime. He wound up having 3 for 225 or 226, excuse me. It's funny how that works out. Anyway.
Listen, you're nailing it. I have a lot of thoughts about this offense. And
I got it wrong completely. They're hammered. I got this game wrong. I picked the Eagles. I got lucky, but keep going.
Yeah, but even on that, I have a lot of thoughts that we'll get into when we really break down just what happened offensively. In the big picture, I had this conversation with someone I was walking. I'm in the press box now, by the way, for those watching at the video. I'm at the link. Just got back from the locker room. Had a conversation with someone just about how the Chiefs did this all year last year. It just pulled wins out of the jaws of defeat, one game after another. It started week 1 with that Ravens game where Isaiah Likely would have caught the game-winning touchdown, but his toe was on the line. And then week after week, they blocked kicks. If you remember, the Chiefs had a few of those. And when you get to that level, when you're winning sort of the mental game and you're already sort of demoralizing opponents week after week with your tush push and this, and then you add in the old, and I know Derek Gunn and Ray Didinger talk about it, kind of the breaks, but you make your breaks. Jordan Davis didn't accidentally do that. He and Jalen Carter blocked those field goals. And to your point, after really having what I thought was a poor offensive game plan, I think you're hitting this on the head and seeing it the exact way I saw it for most of the half. They woke up in the second half and did what they had to do. And so they've won games the way a championship team wins. They're 3-0. The Rams aren't, and you'll look back on it and you'll say it's a great win. There is stuff to work on. Run defense was not good. Passing offense was a zombie for the first half. And we'll get into whether or not a new iteration of this offense really exists. I don't think it does, but at the same time, they just showed you that on their worst day, when you think you got them, you don't. That's how much talent this Eagles team has, and that goes a long way.
Couple things to add, and I was saying this. We had a Patreon live stream chat on at halftime. I said, I don't know how the hell they're down only 19-7. They get the ball first in the second half. Maybe they could score. Oops, they didn't. Kyron Williams scored in the 10-yard run. I'm like, well, I'll admit, I thought they were done. They looked defeated.
Yeah.
And Goddard scores on the seam pass. The whole player missed it on its drop. And I'm like, all right, well, they're only down 12. Let's see what happens. They're not out of it. The crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Now here's my question to you, because I know you can't always tell because the sound could be muffled in the press box. Could you tell that they were getting booed in the first half?
Oh, yeah. Somebody else texted me and asked that if you weren't sure watching at home if the Eagles were getting, but yeah, you could hear it. And it started way before halftime. I mean, it started I'll tell you when it started.
Oh, yeah.
On the first or second, when they had 3rd and long, backed up in their own end zone, and they called a running play, which, by the way, is the right play call there. Like, it would have been nice if, I guess, they had Grant Calcaterra out there trying to block. Maybe they should have put Latu in, but you're not going to try to throw a pass on 3rd and 18 when you're backed up. You're trying to give your punter some space. But the point was, it was so eyesore and so unpleasant to see a Super Bowl championship team sort of getting unmasked and almost emasculated, right? And just unglued in its own, that they have to sit there and call a ridiculous draw just to give themselves some space to punt twice. That's when the boos really started. Yeah, it could be heard. Absolutely.
Yeah, it was it's again when the Rams score 6 straight times. 4 field goals. John Carty, who was a poor guy. But look, they and the Adams play, it's so funny because he clearly pushed off. They don't call it on Blankenship. And A.J. Brown clearly pushed off. They don't call it. Okay.
I was going to say, they watched each other out.
A lot of fans to that. Yeah, I saw that on social media. But the bottom line is heart of a champion. That was in my notes here. I have an exclamation point. Elaine Bennis would be happy on that one.
Mm-hmm.
That's inside joke. It's not fault.
I got it.
But the bottom line is a team that has not gone through what they've gone through over a series of years would not win that game. They just wouldn't. But I would. The one big major takeaway is, I know that Sirianni is not going to call the plays. It's way too early to even consider that. But he can say to Kevin Patullo, throw the football. You can't. Not only can he should. Kevin, let's throw the football. Let's throw the football, because this is bad coaching. Is trying to keep doing the same thing over and over and getting 0 result, which they got. Not Barkley's fault. They can't block for the run game now. Put it in Hurts's hands. You've got Brown. Goddard down the seam. I know he only got 2 targets. He's got a block too. Devontae Smith, unbelievable touchdown. Oh, my God. Unbelievable. Now, by the way, they had back-to-back drops, Goddard and Devontae, which is interesting. Look at my notes here. Then they got the job done. Devontae had the incredible catch and the heart of a champion, too. A.J. Brown, heart of a champion. He would not be denied. Get it in the hand. And by the way, Barkley had a bad drop. Right in his hands. Right in his hands. On a dump-off. And then the other thing is, we didn't even mention it. What in the hell on the 5 kickoff returns with the bobbles? What? Come on.
All right. So, I was going to save special teams for the end, but I think that you're raising it at a good point. And isn't there? So there's this like new kickoff style where they're like knuckleball kicks that I think Carty is trying to do, and others. It's like I know that people have written about it. I think The Athletic did a nice story about it. And maybe it's hard to practice against this new style of kickoff. It's almost like it's part of the new dynamic kickoff. So the kickers are trying something different. And Carty is one of them who's trying to execute a knuckleball style of kick. Okay. So let's first at least say, at least this isn't just out of nowhere. There's a reason that's causing it to happen. Sure. And maybe it's tough to practice against, but there is zero excuse for 5 of them. Like, zero excuse. Like, you got to like buckle down and figure it out. It's not impossible to return a kick that is knuckling. You just have to concentrate and see it.
So Michael Clay and Tyler Brown, they have some work to do. There's no question about it. I'll tell you what. And also, Braden Mann is a man. He is unbelievable. I don't know what. I mean, I know one of them you might say he outkicked the coverage on the 20-yard return, but man, he is really, really good. Jake Elliott's fine, no problem with him. But overall, they got to clean that special teams part up on the returns. But the bottom line is they were able to come back. The run, the other takeaway, and we'll break down some stuff individually in a minute. But the run defense totally out of their gap. They got outside zone, inside zone, gap played. They got all sorts of stuff. We'll talk to Greg Cosell Monday night, and we'll get Greg's early word, and then our Patreon level 3 people take over the chat on Tuesday. It's all theirs. They pepper Greg with 1,000 questions, and Greg loves it. And Greg got a chip on his shoulder last Tuesday. It was phenomenal. He was great. Because he was, I'll be interested to see what he thinks about the pass. It's not so much the ratio. It's just when it's obvious it's not working and go to the pass. But we'll see. I'm hosting. I know you and Andrew are doing the WB the Pro Football Report show from Marlton, right?
Yep, from Marlton, Chickies and Pete's. Come out and see us, Route 73, nice. Marlton, New Jersey, Tuesday night, 6 to 7 o'clock. Like you said, it'll also be live streamed on Inside the Birds YouTube, so you can watch it there. Trying to line up a special guest. Okay. Had a few lines in the water there, but something should come through if we can do that. All right, so good transition to offense. There are some offensive conceptual things that I was able to observe in the press box where I get a wonderful all-22 view that I want to get into. First, let's hear a word from our sponsors. Hey, you know that one guy in the group chat who hit a 5-leg parlay week 1 and he wouldn't shut up about it for the rest of the season? Sounds like Caplan, right? Yeah, it could be him. It could be you, and we would all want to be you. MyBookie makes it stupid easy to get in on the action, whether it's college ball, NFL, super contest, and survivor pools, all the spreads, player props, and in-game lines that you could want all under one roof. What more could you want than that? If you're new to MyBookie, use our code, THEBIRDS, THEBIRDS, the birds. Use the code, and any bet you choose up to $500 is fully covered. Make your play, and if it doesn't hit, you get it right back when you opt in using your bet back bonus token. There is no better time to jump in right now. No better place to play. Football is back. Let's make some money with MyBookie. Hey, fall is planting season. Did you know that many plants and trees actually do better when planted this time of the year? But you got to know where to start, and that's why I love fastgrowingtrees.com. Doesn't matter if you live in the sunny south or if the air's getting a little chilly where you are, the plant experts can help you find the perfect fit for your space. They've got everything your yard needs: fruit trees, privacy trees, shrubs, flowering trees, so much more. And Fast Growing Trees makes it so easy for you to have your dream yard because you can order online and get your plants delivered directly to your door. If you're like me, you're tired of spending way too much money on landscaping. And if you walk into one of those nurseries and you look at all the stuff they have, you have no idea where to begin. That's why you need fastgrowingtrees.com. Doesn't matter about the size of your yard. They got over 6,000 plants to fit any space, and a 14-point quality checklist ensures you will get the best quality plants possible. This fall, they have the best deals for your yard, up to half off on select plants and other deals. And listeners to our show get 15% off their first purchase when using the code BIRDS at checkout. 15% off at fastgrowingtrees.com using the code BIRDS at checkout. Now's the perfect time to plant. Use BIRDS to save today. The offer is valid for a limited time. Terms and conditions may apply. Check out the link below or in the show notes and support the show. All right. So I really paid attention to this, Adam, because when you and I do Inside the Tape with Greg, he has put us on to some of the things that the Cowboys did and then what the Chiefs did. And I looked to see if there was a blueprint here to copy. And sure enough, there was. So the Eagles are seeing a lot of two deep, two shell, cover two, whatever you want to call it, two safeties deep on first and second down. All right. And these teams, whether it was the Cowboys, whether it was the Chiefs, and now the Rams, they're doing a good job of playing too deep, but also trying to funnel like their nickel, if they're a nickel or a base. They're getting guys closer to the line of scrimmage, stunting, doing things to be better against the run. Because when you play two safeties away from the line of scrimmage, you sort of invite the team to run, right? And the Eagles have tried to run, but they have not broken one yet. As we speak, 3 weeks in with Saquon Barkley. So that has put the Eagles behind the sticks. They've faced a lot more third and long. And then to your point, that's when you say, fine, if you're going to play too deep, you're giving me a lot of the middle of the field to throw to. Now, we know, Adam, Jalen Hurts doesn't love to throw in the middle of the field, but we also know that when guys are open, he typically throws those balls in the middle of the field. And I'm watching here, and I'm like, why are they not attacking it? And in the second quarter, like you said, it's like they're going to run the ball, they're going to throw the swing pass. It's almost like both from an offensive concept and then also from a Jalen Hurts, he had gotten so used to not having to do it that he didn't. And it's you like you said, third quarter. It happened with the Brown slant and then 33-yard touchdown to Goddard. It's like they all realize as a quarterback and a staff that if they are going to give you all that underneath, take it. Yeah, you're not asking Jalen to thread windows. They were spread wide, running mesh routes, running digs, running slants, and getting guys open and making plays. And Adam, I just can't figure out why it took so long for whether it's Jalen or whether it's Kevin Petula, whether it's the offensive staff as a whole, the receivers. I put this on everybody. I mean, you're supposed to take what the defense gives.
Yes.
And for the first half of that game, they refused. And then just the second part of that is that because of the success that teams have been having on first and second down against the Eagles, they're blitzing the crap out of them.
Oh man, the zone blitz is it's called quarter cat. When the creep blitzes, they did all sorts of. Greg mentioned in our pregame show the kid McCullough. What you know, he had a blitz.
Yeah,
untouched.
Adam, the Rams blitzed 12% going into this game. They are the third fewest percentage blitzing team in the league. Man. And like you said, they didn't just throw it, but they're bringing the safety. They're bringing a safety and a linebacker. They're overloading one time, bringing a guy around. Yeah, and it was working.
Lane Johnson leaving early. That I'm sure that was part of it. That there's no doubt about it. But it worked. It absolutely worked. And that's when you saw the body language of the offensive players wasn't very good. They were very frustrated, but that's where heart of a champion. So that because they know what it takes to win. And eventually, as you were outlining, some nickel and dime stuff, some bigger plays in the third quarter after they gave up the touchdown early. But then the defense would bend. Then they started taking they stopped giving up big plays. Ja'Cory Bennett, it looked a little bit ugly early, filling in for Dory Jackson or the groin injury, but he got the job done. Blankenship had a nice pass defense. Bond was unbelievable certain plays in the first half. But the big concern is, and it's seemingly, let's face it, they give 115 yards in the first half against the run. They got gashed on several type of runs. I'm interested to see what Greg says when he grades the tape. What the hell the problem was trying to stop the run. We'll get to defense in a minute. But offensively, to finish this off, I just feel like the way this thing went, they know they have an excellent pass target group. Why not be somewhat of a quasi passing team and mix the run in instead of being a running team it's not working and mixing the pass in?
I love that you're saying this.
We'll see.
Because, and I wrote this in my observations for Philly Voice. Everybody should check it out. I had a couple of different observations I don't think everybody got onto. So, do you remember all the talk about this new iteration of the Eagles offense? You know, we want to avoid getting stale. A lot of Jalen Hurts talked about it. Petula talked about it. Jordan Mailata. They said, look, we can't be like 2023 and get stale.
Well, they are.
Right? We got to add. I want to tell you this, though. Even when they're moving the ball well, like in the third and fourth quarter, go look at all the plays. The slant to AJ, the deep dig on third down to Devontae Smith for 16 yards. Right? Great play. The touchdown to Dallas Goedert, I think, was on an RPO. I'm not sure. But great, right down the seam of a cover, right? They're executing the same play. Did you see Jalen Hurts with the 5 wide, right? What is he going to do when he's spread 5 wide? He's going to wait a second, and then he's going to do a design quarterback run. There's nothing that they're doing differently. So, but they scored a lot of points, and they came alive. I guess what I'm saying is
they went tempo.
Well, tempo is something that they always do too. My point is there is no new iteration. They're just doing what they do. They just finally did it better in the third and fourth quarter when they started taking what the defense gives.
Other than they changed the ratio, they became a passing team, not a running team. Although it's so funny. It's like they couldn't help themselves. They felt, we have to stay honest. Let's run the ball. No, they can't. The Rams are awful at corner. That's bad coaching. If it's not working, stop doing it. They're not going to stop you. I can't stand when coaches do this. If it's working, keep doing it. It's you and I have done this throughout our careers. When we ask coaches, why are you doing this? Because it worked. When it's working, keep doing it. They're really bad at corners. So, and they tried to protect them by playing too deep. I get that. As you said, then they started taking it short to intermediate, and it was working on slants. That worked. Short area, get it to Devontae. Plus, they had 3 drops, as I said. So, overall, They got the job done. They needed a miracle finish. One of the most, other than both Miracle in the Meadowlands, I'm sure other people will remember. I can't think of anything that was this miracle-like. It was incredible.
Yeah, it really was. Now, do you think? All right, we'll get into defense in a second. Yeah. Let's pause to hear just another word from some sponsors.
Sure.
Hey, Philly fans, game day is stressful enough. Parking, traffic, long lines. We've all been there. But when it comes to your cannabis, Camden Apothecary makes it easy. This is the dispensary for sports fans, just minutes outside of Philly with plenty of free parking. You'll be in and out fast, no hassle, no waiting. And they don't just care about convenience. Camden Apothecary is all about the guest experience. Their staff makes sure you feel taken care of every time you walk in. Plus, they carry only the best quality cannabis at the fairest prices. So whether you're stocking up for the tailgate, the watch party, or celebrating a big win, you know you're getting the good stuff without overpaying. They even show love to the community with specials for fans, students, service members, and healthcare pros. Camden Apothecary, top quality cannabis, great prices, and an experience made for Philly fans 21 and up. Sports are all about competition. Every snap, every possession, every clutch moment matters. That same energy is what 1v1 Me brings to video games. Every single day, you can watch and stake on matchups in Madden, NBA 2K, FC, and Call of Duty Search and Destroy. All the games are streamed live. Every match has refs, and payouts are instant. And these aren't just random online lobbies. These are the best players in the scene, pros, streamers, and rivals. With season playoffs and the championship game on the line, every game matters. Over $100 million has already been paid out on the app, and the community is growing fast. If you're a sports fan, a gamer, or just someone who loves having a little extra on the line, 1v1 Me is where you need to be. It's not just about winning, it's about the bragging rights too. Every match has a chat going crazy, and you can back your picks in real time. Download today and use code BIRDS. Your first stake on the app is risk-free. That's code BIRDS for a risk-free first stake.
All right, so defensively, let's examine the root question that I'm wondering here. Jordan Davis gave us all a great big guy touchdown, thick six, whatever you want to call it. All right, somewhere Brian Westbrook must have been very disapproving, right? I mean, you got to just jump on that ball and cover it up and lay down and game over. I don't know why he scooped it up and felt the need to run back for the touchdown. It was very exciting. It's fun to say in retrospect, but Brian Westbrook did it the right way when he took the knee at the 1 against the Cowboys all those years ago. And I don't know that there was really a need for Jordan Davis to have to scoop that and return it. They had won the game. The game's over. That's it. Goodbye. Good night. But he did provide a lot of enthusiasm for the fans there. I thought Jordan Davis, Adam, not only was huge from that standpoint, and also the one where he blocked the field goal with Jalen Carter, but he had 2 enormous stops in this game.
Yes.
3rd and 2 on Matthew Stafford, and then 4th and 1, he swims inside Kevin Dotson, great arm over swim move, and just knocks Kyren Williams in his tracks. I mean, he is a big part of this. He's the reason for the win, to be honest with you.
He was, obviously. Yeah. He was. Now, he was part of the awful run defense. Let's call it like it is. We got to be truthful here. But being mentally tough, the kid cares, by the way. I know the word around the club is he talks a lot about how he's going to do this or that, but he's backing it up here. And he came in big time. That was great. Carter, by the way, you can't have a personal foul, man. You can't do that. I mean, that's just I don't know what that you can't bench him. He's too good. But at some point, can't have it. Lucky didn't cost him the game. But bottom line, Davis came through. That was huge when it really mattered. That's the thing about this game. When it absolutely positively someone had to make a play. That was the story of the second half. Everybody made plays when they weren't the first half. That's the craziness.
Right. All right. So on top of that, story 2 of the second half. For 2 weeks straight now, Vic Fangio is blitzing at a much higher percentage than normal. How about that? Now, I had an interesting conversation with Mike Quick after. Because in the locker room, a couple guys suggested, when you're getting gashed in the run like that, you got to send some extra bodies. But Vic was blitzing on 3rd down as well. It wasn't just
run blitz. Yeah,
it was, yeah. But he was also coming after Stafford on third down, and that surprised me. And I was talking to Mike Quick about it, and I said I'm surprised he felt that comfortable, given that Nakua and Devontae are so good wide receivers. And he said the one thing about them, as opposed to say, like when they had to defend Lamb and Pickens, which Vic didn't blitz at all in that game, basically. He said the one thing about them is that they're great receivers, but they're not natural speed separators, right? They're contested catch guys. Yep. And when you have a Quinyon Mitchell and a Cooper DeJean, like he said, McVay is going to scheme up a couple that beat you, like the one where he got Devontae on Reed Blankenship. That's going to happen in the course of a game in a season. Sure. But he said in general, he liked the approach. And I looking back on it, Stafford's numbers were bad, and Stafford missed about 6 or 7 throws. And I think that had a lot to do with the either pressure or the fear and threat of pressure, because I thought Stafford let a few go early that sailed, especially on third downs.
Oh,
that was where the pressure wasn't there, but he was just afraid of it.
All right, so on your point, he looked like Eli Manning. Eli Manning had a terrible habit of turning his face and when pressure was coming at him. And boy, Stafford had one where the guy was wide open.
Yep, on the over.
What's that?
Yeah, it was like an out where I think it was Nakua had DeJean beat to the outside on third down.
Yeah, that was the play. Yeah. And I'm like, dude, why are you turning your butt? Why no one was within 5 yards of you. Why did you turn your face and your foot? That was just bad. Like he had an inconsistent game. He made some Matthew Stafford like throws where you go, holy shit. But he definitely had some bad plays. The pick by the way, the pick by Ball in the first quarter was ridiculously incredible.
Yes, great jump of the route. But yeah, he is. If everybody thought he was like going to regress or come back there, it hasn't happened yet.
Special.
So
he's a pretty
been a great development.
But
there was the goal line pass where it was a beautiful play action by the Rams, and all he had to do was throw it up to Williams, and he just threw it over his head. I mean, it was there. It was a touchdown there. There were 2 third downs. How about listen, this was a tough one where he rolled to his left and then threw right to the right corner for Nakua, I think. Or no, it was Devontae Adams. But Devontae had a step, and he just overthrew it. That could have been a score. And then the same thing on the one where he put it in Williams' breadbasket in the end zone in the right corner, where Jacorian Bennett, you mentioned that. I feel like if he had thrown back shoulder, then Bennett can't get his hand there. So, but all of that, I think, was not just like him making bad passes. I feel like he felt that threat of, I cannot hold on to this ball a single second longer, and I just got to let it loose. So you credit the Eagles defense for that.
Yeah, maybe so. But the bottom line is they found a way to win when it looked just terrible. But the story was when they were down at 19-7 at half, as I said earlier, like they're very lucky to be. They were actually in this game. 12 points is nothing in the National Football League, as it would turn out as well. Mm-hmm. But look, the Rams. I mean, look, Davis makes a superhuman play. The run they gave up. Like the defense gave up way too much. The run defense, they have a lot to fix. Like as we finish off defense, lot to fix. We'll find out about Jackson in the coming days. Quite frankly, they might as well go with Bennett. They traded for him, but we'll see what happens. But they got to fix this run defense. That was embarrassing how bad. Kyron Williams is a nice player, and he's shifty as hell. Really smart runner. Like he seems to find these creases. Well, he's not what you call explosive. But this is a line they should have dominated against. The Rams, Steve Avila was out. One of the starting guards is a good football player. Kevin Dotson missed some plays. He left with a calf cramp or something. And they still couldn't get anything going, save a couple stuffs, but they didn't have a lot of them. And overall, the other thing is, and you mentioned the pressure, they're just not getting pressure on the quarterback. And that's why Vic, like there's a saying in coaching, if you can't get him with 4, you bring 5. You bring 6 if you can't get with 5. They're just gonna have to blitz. I'm sure he dreads it. He don't like the blitz, but you got to get home somehow. And by the way, they still weren't getting home as much as they probably should have.
Yeah, he was probably enjoying it, seeing Stafford. Stafford completed 57% of his passes. This is one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the league. So he was probably, I think, having guys like Campbell and Bond now, and just having, cover guys like Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper, in year 2, I think he's more comfortable with it. He's clearly more comfortable. He's just not afraid to blitz.
He has to, number one. Number 2, on your point, I would say, and again, this is all subjective unless Cosell sees it on the coaching tape. I think on your point you made earlier was a good one, is that they seem to be in Stafford's head at least a little bit. He rushed himself.
Mm-hmm.
And that was part of it. So the defense got more pressure. It wasn't pressure doesn't mean it's always sacks. It's making the quarterback do something he doesn't want to do or making rush a split second, which he seemed to do. Mm-hmm. And the mental errors that they were making in the first half, they weren't making as many of them. And that's the key. But, man, they have 7 edge rushers. They dressed 5, and they're just not getting home on natural plays where you run your 5-man front where you're not blitzing. They just cannot get home consistently like last year. And that's something that Howie's going to have to look at by end of October. I know they have a lot of players, but that's never stopped them. They have 7 guys, but who do they have as a consistent pass rusher? The answer is nobody.
Yeah, very interesting. I'm glad you brought up Howie Roseman. I want to finish on this point. Howie gave up, because I got to call the coaches out for this, all right? Howie gave up a lot of he gave up not any high picks, but he's given up picks for 3 guys, right? In particular, I'm about to mention. One is Mechie. He had trouble with the kickoff return. 2 for Bigsby. He had trouble with kickoff returns. And then they gave up a pick for Fred Johnson to be your swing tackle that he played fairly well last year in that role. Why did you bring Matt Pryor in? Why did you give up pick? Well, your GM gave up picks to bring in Fred Johnson for that role, but you brought in Matt Pryor, and he was a turnstile, unfortunately. He got Jalen Hurts killed on one of those.
Yeah, what was the Fred Johnson trade? What was it?
It was probably like a 6th.
Yeah, I know it wasn't much, but at least
Yeah,
at least Fred
but
Johnson.
The point is, you gave up something to get him for that role. Why didn't you play him? Because as soon as he came in, the offense just started moving down the field.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
We said months ago he's more of a left tackle who could play right. But you know what? Without him, I mean, I don't want to. Obviously, we're not putting it all him, but that was a factor in the win. You're absolutely. I'm glad you brought that up. He was absolutely a factor. What he did is he settled things down. He's been an incredible story, by the way, of kind of igniting a career which he didn't really have before he came to Philly the first time around, and it's been a great story of development. And they needed a man because with Lane's injury, they needed something. And Matt Pryor, that was bad. That play, that pressure he gave up was pretty bad. Give Stout credit; he didn't belabor it by keeping him in, which sometimes coaches do and say, "Oh, we'll let him work it out." Nope, they pulled him.
Yeah, all right, that's fair. I'll give him credit for that, and then take credit away for even putting Matt Pryor in there in that spot when you have Fred Johnson.
But he's been their backup right all of camp. So.
Right, but then they traded for Fred Johnson because they wanted a better backup offensive tackle. It wasn't just, I thought, for left. I thought they wanted him to be the swing tackle that he was last year.
But
so,
again,
I don't know.
Let me ask you this question though: who would be Who was going to be the backup left tackle if they didn't trade for Johnson, for Fred?
Probably, well, I guess Kendall Lamb, if they would have had to have kept.
And it didn't work, right? And it didn't work with Kendall Lamb,
Right.
So that what choice did they have? They needed a backup left, and Fred did a good job. And we'll see if Lane will be cleared. I saw something out there. They had a stinger. I think you might have told the Inquirer it's a stinger. They just have to clear up,
Okay. Yeah. Hopefully it doesn't linger. And I know Darius Cooper also went to the locker room, so we'll get an update on
a shoulder injury. Yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, they made it through, I think, fairly unscathed. And we're going to have a ton of great coverage this week. I cannot wait to hear the conversation between Ray Didinger and Derek Gunn on Birds Weekly this week. I can't wait for Greg Cosell's breakdown, for Sam Finkel's analytical breakdown on Inside the Data, for the daily DeCecco's, or DeCecco dailies, I should say, all week long, including his own take on this game. So much great coverage and content on ITB coming up throughout the week. And of course, like you said, our show Tuesday night, WBCB, 6 to 7 o'clock. You can watch it on our Inside the Birds YouTube channel. That's going to do it for the Inside the Birds post-game show. For Adam Caplan, I'm Geoff Mosher. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for flying with us inside the Birds.